happens when let's say like when we touch or hold let's say a coffee cup in our hand to doing some dexterous manipulation. So what goes on, and then how that could be emulated in robotics. So that's something shown here. So curiosity is one reason why this research is important. And then you have what is called safety enhancement in robots. So conventionally, if you look, like we are in 2025, but still robots are not, in our everyday life, right? We don't come into your house and you don't see a robot which is serving or doing stuff and all. So one of the limitations is that all these robots with the motors and everything, so in terms of safety aspect, it's not okay. That's why if you look at every car which you all use or every mobile phone which you use, normally it goes through an industrial setup where you have thousands and thousands of robots like this working in an industrial factory. I visit BMW mini plant in the UK and similar plants in other places as well, where you could see thousands of robots. Every 20 seconds, a car comes out. Okay, but that's the area where robots are currently widely used in an industrial scenario. But if from the industrial scenario, if the robots have to come to our everyday life, then you need tactile sensing. So sense of touch plays a very important role to ensure so we humans and robots can have a safe interaction. Here are some news which are sensationalized, like robot kills human and so on. Okay, so yeah, safety enhancement. A third reason why tactile sensing is important, again on cognitive robotics side. Okay, so here is a demonstration by a company called Shadow Robot Company, which is based in the UK. It's not from my research, but you can see that to do dexterous, this is a hand. So where you can see like different types of maneuvering. Human hand is highly dexterous. If you want to implement dexterous manipulation in robotics, so you need a sense of touch. Here, all the blue color capped regions here are tactile sensors, and with which you could kind of with the tactile sensing, the manipulation and the dexterity can go up. Okay, so Shadow Robot Company was one of the sponsor in the project by which I used to work when I did my PhD. Right. So not just that, if you kind of put your hand in a ice cube, and then if you try to grab an object like this, you can realize the role of tactile sensing. Okay, so how much it is important. Okay, and again, it's very important for robots to work in unstructured environment. Okay, so here is a demonstration where you can see, 2007 demo. You can see the dexterity of human hands, how fast human hands can stack things. But no way this is possible without sense of touch. Here is research by Professor Roland Johansson, where they have put an anesthesis on so they have kind of temporarily disable the tactile sensing in the human hand, and without that, even grabbing a matchstick like this and then striking it is an extremely difficult task. For example, we making a cup of tea. Okay, it's going to be really difficult without a sense of touch, right? And so everyday ambient. If you look at everyday ambient, so and for robots to become more assistive, the sense of touch plays a critical role. We can't rely only on vision alone. Companies like Amazon, they kind of have this picking challenge where we can have robots which can handle all kind of objects which you are looking at over here. It's difficult to handle soft materials and perishables as well. Right. So with that background, also it is important. Tactile sensing is important to achieve embodiment in robotic prosthesis. So here is a famous clip from movie from science fiction, where you can see that it's kind of so getting a sense of touch similar to similar to human hand. Okay, but through in a robotics prosthesis is a dream. Okay, it's a science fiction dream. And there are research directions which are progressing in terms of neuroprosthetics, both for upper limb as well as for a lower limb, where researchers are trying to provide a sense of touch. Okay, so without sense of touch, prosthetics will be felt just like any other tool, like a hammer or like a spoon or like any other tool which we normally handle. But with sense of touch, the prosthetics will start to feel like as if it is a part of their body, so which we call it as embodiment. Okay, and tactile sensing also is useful to realize haptic robotic avatar. It's also useful for robotic surgery like this. Right. With that background, I'll move on with some of the work which I have done in this. So usually, work on tactile sensing, it should start with system level, and there should be device, then circuit, and again system level. That closed loop is something which you can observe here. So here is, it's a picture from one of the articles. So electronic sensors narrow the gap between, published by me. So if you look at, if you look at a typical, so sense such as vision, so you have the entire vision sensors localized in only one area. If it is to do with hearing, you have the sensor localized in only one area. But unlike that, a sense of touch, if you look, it is distributed all over the body. So you need a sense of touch all over the body. So here are ways in which you could actually realize you can make a planar electronics, and then you can, just like this particular example, you can realize a planar electronics. You can fold it in certain way so that it can start to cover robots and robotic hands and prosthetics. Okay, that is So compared to vision, hearing, or olfaction, tactile sensing is distributed all over the body, and not just the sensing is distributed, but the processing is also distributed. Okay, so there is localized computing and localized processing which is happening. For example, if you look at a typical fingertip, the tip of the finger, there are 250 mechanoreceptors in the human hand. Again, that since that so the signals from that 250 approximate mechanoreceptors in the tip of the human hand, it is processed somewhat locally, and then it is sent to the brain for further information processing. So a similar approach may be needed for robotics as well. Okay, so a typical approach when it comes to tactile sensing, you have to handle all this. Okay, you have to think of what sensors, sensor architectures. It could be physical sensors such as pressure or temperature, okay, or humidity sensors. And how do you address such a sensor? So whether you do a element by element address or linear address, what materials or substrate to use? When it comes to address, like a row column addressing is one way, where a passive matrix or an active matrix could be realized. And how do we do data processing? Okay, so again, we can do biomimetic data processing, such as rate coding, temporal coding, population coding, and sparse coding. These are some of the ways. So some of the aspects when it comes to robotic tactile sensing. Okay, so if you think of device architecture, uh, so you could again may need static sensors as well as dynamic sensors. So static sensors could be of capacitive, resistive, optical, magnetic type, and dynamic sensors could be of piezoelectric, triboelectric type sensors. Okay, here is a video from one of our papers where we have kind of have a graphene based tactile sensors. So you can see with and without tactile sensing. So without the sense of touch, it's kind of crushing the particular the softball. It's a graphene based tactile sensor. With the tactile sensing enabled, you can see it's a smooth grab. Okay, so again, graphene quite a very thin layer. So that graphene based capacitive tactile sensors have been used for this project, which has been implemented on a touch bionics prosthetic hand. Okay, so here is how the sensors are being characterized. So we need to characterize the bending response of these sensors, and we also have to characterize the so the resistive changes in it as well, systematic characterization. I refer you to this particular paper. So to know how we realize this graphene-based tactile sensors. So there are various configurations. So here you can see as the pressure is increased, as it is cycled to different, the capacitance changes, and this capacitance change could be sensed and then used for tactile sensing. Again, there could be different types of capacitive configuration. You can have a squeeze material based capacitor, or you can have a parallel plate based capacitor. Okay, so here is another demonstration where this is a hand 3D printed, so by me, and so you can see that it is controlled by myoelectric system. So you can see that now this is useful as a prosthesis, but again, this requires like if you want to give a sense of touch, since it is 3D printed, as a part of 3D printing, we could embed sensor. 3D printing is typically used for printing mechanical structures, but we modified the 3D printer and we added provisions to print electronic materials also. And with that provision, we could actually embed sensors also. And so here is a way to add tactile sensing on the surface. So you can see that, and neural data processing of it. So here is a flexible electronic skin, and you can see that as different areas are touched, it's not just sensing, but there is a processing, a local neural processing is going on before, so it does some recognition on what is going on in the skin of it. So I'll move on, but you can refer to these material for further details about it. Yeah. So again, when it comes to human sense of touch, there are 4 types of mechanoreceptors. So you have what are called as slow adapting. So slow adapting mechanoreceptors called Meckel receptors in the surface, and Ruffini corpuscles a bit deeper. Okay, so this receptors respond as long as the stimuli is on. For example, when a pressure stimuli is applied, it will respond as long as the stimuli is on. You can see it's responding by generating spikes, and that spikes comes to our brain. But there are also some sensors in it, both at the surface as well as deeper in the skin, which responds only to dynamic stimuli. For example, when there is a slip, or when there is a vibration. Okay, so when we rub our skin against a velvety structure, so all those times, these receptors respond. You can see that as the stimuli, whenever the stimuli is turning on, there is a response coming from that receptors, and whenever the stimuli is turning off, again during that change, there is a response coming. So we can mimic this in the electronic skin as well. Again, taking inspiration from biology. Okay, so biomimetic data processing. We could use analog and we could use digital FPGA based approach. Analog means we can implement voltage made soma or current mode soma. Again, inspired by how human body processes this data. And in case of current mode soma, you could implement a spiking neurons, or you can have a non-spiking neuron. You could implement rate coding and temporal coding. I'll present one approach which we did. So here is this hand with the sensors in it, and you have static sensors and dynamic sensors. And fingerprint plays a role in human tactile sensing. So we have emulated fingerprinting within this particular hand. Okay, you can see that, and it can respond both static response as well as dynamic response. You're seeing some neuromimicking processing as well, and some tempotron based classification in this. Okay, so so here is the architecture and some results. So here is the response for static pressure. So the pressure is static, and you can see that as the pressure is cycled, it is varying and it is increasing. Okay, and here is same device, but for responding for dynamic stimuli. This is coming from the piezoelectric element of the device. This is coming from the capacitive element of the device. Okay, so you also have to work on circuit level when it comes to application like this. Here is a live demo of a stimuli which is coming in and the response from the sensor. You can see the static stimuli response and the dynamic stimuli response from that. Okay, so not just that, we could also have sensors embedded within 3D printing. In the interest of time, I'll rush through this. But we also realize like high performance transistors, so that we can realize row column structures and then access these. Here are some of our work on realizing flexible high performance transistors, whether using ultra thin chips or silicon nano ribbons, okay, and so on. So these helps to achieve so tactile sensing. And here is a demonstration where we have 3D printed the sensors itself. Okay, so instead of here you are looking at the response where within the 3D printed structure, which is the mechanical structure, we have also printed the electronics also to it, and then it responds to it. Right. In terms of distributed data processing, we've kind of followed different approach. So one of the approach which we did is using neural nanowire fit based distributed data processing, and we also made energy autonomous skin where the skin is powered by solar cells. Okay, so solar cells in it. So you can, so that kinds of solar-based electronic skin generates its own power. An article in IEEE Spectrum. Also have other applications, like as I said, sensory prosthesis. And here is another one of my paper where not just tactile sensor, but we also take the data and feedback into the residuum of the person through a haptic actuator. For example, when this area is being pressed, when a tactile input is applied here, so this area in it will be excited. Okay. Similarly, you can see a mirrored mapping between locations in the prosthetic hand versus the haptic feedback on the person who is wearing it. Okay. So that is one way of providing force feedback to the person. Here is another soft gripper with tactile sensing again.
Excuse me,
we
sir.
Can look at. Yeah, sorry.
Sorry to interrupt. I'm sure all participants are enjoying your talk. However, due to time constraint, I would like to request you to kindly wind up in another 5-10 minutes.
Sure. Thank you. Sure. Yeah.
Thank you, sir.
So I'll quickly kind of show what other aspects of research we have done. So you can see that here is output where we are using tactile-based communication system for deaf-blind communication. Okay, so we implemented it on 10 deaf-blind people, and we tested it in Scotland. Okay, so here is a demonstration where you can see a teleoperation, and so here, this also demonstrated. I mean, throughout UK from Oxford to Edinburgh, we are able to control it, so in the US as well. We also here is another project where tactile sensing and haptic feedback is being used for for musculoskeletal surgery. I'll stop here and I'll kind of take some questions if you have. So that is my outline. So we started with why tactile sensing is important: extrinsic tactile sensing, electronic skin, intrinsic tactile sensing, and we also discussed some future directions and applications of it. So thank you. So here are my acknowledgement of everybody who have been a part of this journey.
Thank you, sir, for such an enlightening session.
We are open for any questions.
I believe the audience does not have any questions. Now I invite Ms. Shikha Batla to present a certificate to Dr. William Nagraj as a token of our appreciation.
Thank you, sir, for being a part of this event. And we hope to see you soon again. Thank you so
Thank you.
much.
Thank you for being a part of SPIN 2025, sir.
Thank you. I appreciate it. Thank you all.
Thank you, sir.
It is a great privilege to have Dr. Manisha Jangra with us today. I would like to invite Ms. Shikha Bhatla to present a sapling to Dr. Manisha Jangra.
Welcome, ma'am.
Dr. Manisha Jangra Dr. Manisha Jangra is an assistant professor in the Department of Electrical and Electronics Engineering at Guru Jambeshwar University of Science and Technology, Hisar. Her research interests include biomedical signal processing, artificial intelligence, and wireless sensor networks. Dr. Jangra has been cited 140 times with an H index of 4 and an I-10 index of 4. Notable publications include ECG arrhythmia, classification using modified visual geometry group network, and ECG beat classifiers, a journey from ANN to DNN. She collaborates with researchers such as Dr. Krishna Kansing and Dr. Ritu Bura. Welcome once again, ma'am.
Thank you.
Ma'am, would you like to call upon the paper presenters or would you prefer if I did it?
You call the paper presenters.
Okay, ma'am. Now, I would like to call presenter from paper ID 347 to present their paper. Kindly show your valid ID for verification. We appreciate your cooperation. Thank you. Uh, Paper presenter from paper ID 347. Kindly show your valid ID for verification. As 347 is not present here, I would like to call presenter from paper ID 443 to present their paper.
Hello, good morning all.
Kindly show your valid ID for verification.
Please
Thank you. Okay.
continue.
Okay, so good morning all. I'm here to present my paper. So let me share my screen first. So that my screen is visible to you all.
Yes. Yes.
So my today topic is early diagnosis and predictions of mental health using the assemble learning. So as we let us first talk about the topic first. So we know that neurological disorders like stress, anxiety, depressions, brain tumor affect billions of the people worldwide. So traditional diagnostics method or tools are basically often fail to detect the early symptoms leading to delayed in treatment. So imagine a world where the machine learning can predict the neurological disease even before the major symptoms appear. So our research aims to make it as a reality. So let me go with that and making the things better. So our introduction part consists of the problem statement. So the mental health arising at early detections is mental health is rising immediately, and the early detection is basically challenging. So model aim is to bridge a gap with the AI driving analysis. So our need is basically to address the solution with the potential to accurately detect the mental health conditions early and predict their progression is a critical for timely invention. So our study is basically focused on assemble learning models to develop a predictive system for early diagnosis and progressions of mental health disorders, leveraging the diverse data set for the machine learning to improve the accuracy. And if we are talking about what is assemble learning here is, so assemble learning is a machine learning technique that combine the multiple model in order to improve its accuracy, robustness and generalization. So basically by reducing the variance, reducing the bias and overfitting, by leveling them to the methods like bagging, boosting, stacking, and hence their predictive performance. So this diagram basically represents the techniques of the assemble learning. So let us first go with the bagging. So bagging technique reduce the variance by training the multiple models on a different subsets of data by averaging their results. And if we are talking about the boosting, so boosting improve the performance by training the model sequentially where each model can correct the mistake of the previous one. So basically the boosting can be including many other algorithms that like we have a cat boost, that is a categorical boosting, then we have a gradient boosting, and then we have a adaptive boosting. So gradient boosting can be further be classified as a XZ boost, light boost and hit gradient boosting. So we have a stacking techniques also, and the stackings involve the combine the predictions from the multiple model using a meta model, and the learner from the best final prediction, then we can take it. Then voting and averaging is basically the techniques that combine the model performance. So basically voting is for the classification problem, and averaging is for the regression problem. So basically this diagram explain that bagging focus on reducing the variance, boosting correct the model weakness sequentially, and stacking learn a better meta model, and voting averaging the aggregate predictions for the stability process. So if we moving further for the literature review, so this is a comparative analysis of a literature review. So a systematic review of a previous study in the mental health disorders predictions highlight the evolution of a machine learning model. So as we compare the effective and accuracies of that, in from the 2012 we are working on a single model, that is we have a KNN or either we have a SVM and any other classified machine learning algorithm, but it was evolved in 2005. In 2005 or 2005 we are working on the deep learning model plus assemble model, so it will be enhance its accuracies also. So if we are talking about the data set, the previous models basically from 2012 we are observed that they are working on a small data set, as we can take the references from it, that we are this is generation condition will be working in a 30 binary unit sets on the small data set they are focusing on, but now we can more focus on the real time word data set to for the better analysis and for better predictions. So this is a comparative literature review of a given paper, and while existing studies has demonstrated high accuracy being assembled learning, they are lacking real-time clinical validations, personalized predictions. So our research aim is to address the gap and integrating the patient to history of mood fluctuations, advanced hybrid models for the early neurological disorder detection. So let me go with this flow diagram of a proposed model. So this is a flow diagram here. The input is trained as a H1 classifier. This is where we have a H1 classifier, and the identification is performed on the pre-trained data, and then the model will be produces the hypothesis, that is H1. Now if while doing the identification some error reducing producing regions predominantly dominate, so we can add more weights to it. We can add the more weights and giving the priorities to that classifiers or models, and it produces the hypothesis, that is H2. So if we combine both, that result of both H1 and H2 classifier produce the hypothesis, that is H3. So this is the proposed methodology for the boosting sequential learning model. So basically about the algorithm, if this algorithm is worked on the ADA boost, or we can say the boosting algorithm. So this is basically algorithm will be performing the major. This algorithm follows a boosting approach where weak classifier are combined to create a strong classifier by iteratively updating the weights and selecting the best classifier at each step. So the model improve the accuracy over the time. This can be helpful to mental health prediction and data analysis. So let us explain this algorithm on the basis of methodology. So basically, in the input, we have a user details, that is a personal data of a patient, such as gender, country, occupations, history, habitat, change in routine, mood swings, healthcare, social interaction, and work interest of our required instances, and the output can be basically observed in the form of different parameters. We have precision, recall, F factor, then ROC curve and AUC curves that we have to draw from that particular input. So first of all, that is the first part is clear, that is the data collection. And data collection, we have different data, personal data of a patient we are collected, and then we have a data processing and integration. Data processing and integration is a pre-processed data using the normalization and feature selection to improve the quality. So basically, data cleaning, we have a missing value, removing the outlier, standardize the data if required. Now we are upon that we are basically focused on feature engineering and selection, that is identifying the relevant clinical features, mood swing, change in routine, social interaction, work interest, and transfer them into the useful input to improve the mood model performance. So then we have to do the initialization of weight. Here the weight is initialized as wi is equals to 1 by n, and this weight is given, basically all the data point will be giving the equal weights that ensure that initially all the instances contribute the equal weights. And then we have a classifier selection. Classifier selection is basically a weak classifier, that is basically we are H1 classifier, which is a minimum error rate, we have to select it, and then we have to calculate the weighting factor for it. So basically a classifier H1 is selected or minimum error, and then the prediction of error are computed, then weighted are updated using the ADA boost formula, that is we are using here for the weight after the time, that is given as this. So this formula is basically used for ensuring the misclassification point at a higher next classifier focus on difficult cases. So model selection, various machine learning models are basically used to examine, such as we have using make the use of a random forest, KNN, decision tree, logistic regression, and then we have a knife base along with the sample learning, which can improve the predictive capability and boosting technique of a utilized optimization. Then we have training model and model evaluation. Model are trained using the train test split and the cross validation, and by we are making the use of a 8 cross validation technique. And then the strategies to assemble that, and their output will be can be recorded in the form of score, ROC, AUC curves that we are shown here. And the final input output of this model is basically the performance tested on the unseen data of a patient, and it was recorded at hit gradient boosting, achieving 97.5% of the accuracy, and ROC and AUC score of 96.4%, as we shown in the table. Let me show that. That a hit, if we are seeing in the table 3, that is a predictive accuracy scores of different algorithms, then we are seeing that a hit gradient boosting will be achieving the maximum accuracy, that is 97.5%. And if we are showing the table 4, that is ROC and AUC score on the different algorithms, then we are basically seeing that a hit gradient
Excuse
boost.
me.
Yeah.
Sorry to interrupt. However, due to time constraint, I would like to request you to kindly wind up in another 2 minutes. Thank you.
Okay. So this is basically the model performance. We are seeing that a hit gradient boosting will be achieving the maximum accuracy of 97.5%, and then ROC and AUC is 96.4%. So basically, if we are talking about the results outcomes, then the model performance at hit gradient boosting will be achieving the maximum, and we are seeing that a combination of algorithm will be produces a better accuracy. As we shown in this table, the table to comparative results of different learning method, the KNN will be getting the maximum, that is 94.6% of the precision, recall, and different factors, they are achieving the best from rest of the things. So main finding is that the early diagnosis of stress, anxiety, depression, tumors, and stroke significant in the machine learning models. Mood fluctuation indicated the predictor and disorder. So basically, we are focused on a particular one parameter, that is a mood fluctuation. And if we are seeing the ROC and AUC curve, ROC curves of that particular mood swing, we are seeing that we get the accuracy of 99.9%. So this is for the mood swing prediction. And if we are talking about the tools and technologies that we are using here, is we have make the use of machine learning libraries, that is the XGBoost. Then we have light gradient boosting, that is XGBoost is known for its speed and performance, light gradient boosting for the histogram based learning method, and then the cat boost for the categorical values. Then we have a high accuracy. We make the use of pandas, numpy, and matplotlib. Pandas for data manipulation, numpy for numerical computation, and matplotlib for data visualization we are using. And then TensorFlows and Keras for the deep learning models we are using, that is model development and training part. Then we are making the use of a skskit-learn and skskit-learn for the accuracy purpose. And then we're making this is all about my presentation. So thank you for this.
Hello, Veshika.
Yeah,
Dr.
good.
Manisha this way. I have few questions to ask.
Yes, ma'am.
Are you the solo author of this publication?
Sorry?
Are you the solo author of this publication?
No, actually, ma'am, I'm just doing this in the in the guidance of my teacher as a mentor. So
So, in the
I'm
publication also you have written his name or not? So,
in the publication, in the paper, I written my mentor name also, but I am writing this in the guidance of my mentor,
what is his name?
Dr. Sanjeev Kumar and Dr. Seema from
Okay.
Department of Computer Science and Engineering.
Okay. Actually, I am also from GJ, that is why I am asking.
Yeah,
So, in
yeah.
publication also you have to write the names of co-authors. While
Okay,
presenting also, you should
okay,
write the name of co-authors.
okay,
So
ma'am.
my question is, data collect is about data collection. Have you collected it, or you have used some standard database for it? And if you have
Ma'am,
collected it, how you
yeah.
did it?
Yeah, this data is basically we are collecting this data as a patient, that original patient. We can say that data, whatever the factors we are mentioned, that mood swing fluctuations and different parameters, we are observing one patient personal data. That
How
different.
many patients data did you
I'm
gather?
particularly not this, but we are taking the data on जो pre-existing data is there, we are checking on that particular thing.
So what is the name of that data set from where you took the
Ma'am, it
data?
is a mental health data. I'm just taking it from the Kegel. So I'm just applying or many other. Let's say I'm saying that we are observing more in order to check the accuracy. They are giving the good result or not. So we are taking other data sets also, so that we can analyze that our accuracy is improved and they can match from that particular things or not.
Now, second question is, how did you select the relevant features? Did you do any feature engineering, feature extraction technique? Have you applied for this?
Ma'am, basically for the feature engineering, feature selection, just a normalization, standardization, cleaning the data and all this type of basic things we are doing for the data, because data consists of many other things also. So we have to basically evaluate that so that our accuracy and is maintained, whatever the we are observing, we are seeing from the previous data also. And the main motive is basically that we improve the accuracy of the particular assembles models.
That's it from my side.
Thank you, ma'am.
Mhm.
Thank you so much. Now I would like to call presenter from paper ID 446 to present their paper. Kindly show your valid ID for verification. Thank you.
Thank you, ma'am. Good morning, ma'am. I'm Chandru from the Department of Computer Science and Engineering. Now I am going to present about a project on cyberbullying impact and prediction using deep learning models. Mm, Cyberbullying is a growing concern in today's digital world with the major platforms like Instagram, YouTube, and Facebook witnessing a rise in online harassment. Our project aims to predict the impact of cyberbullying on students using deep learning models, helping in early detection and intervention. Cyberbullying significantly affects students, leading to poor academic performance, social withdrawal, and severe mental health issues like anxiety and depression. Recent studies shows that students facing cyberbullying often experience lower concentrations level, lack of participation in class, and decline in grades. The need for predictive models arises because early detection can help institutions and parents take necessary action before the impact worsens. Uh, in this slide, these are the recent cyberbullying cases, which shows that a woman was died by committing suicide or to the cyberbullying by her ex-boyfriend, and also a woman committed suicide after being shamed online for not taking care of her child. These cases are the best examples of cyberbullying and its impact on human. It also affects most of the college students' life, which is analyzed by academic performance. In order to prevent this, we have three main objectives. First one is to identify the patterns of cyberbullying using deep learning models. Then second one is to assess its impact on students' academic and mental well-being and social life. And the final step is to compare the performance of LSTM, BiLSTM, and GRU models. Let us see its impact on students in academic performance. It leads to decreased concentration, lack of participation, and lower grades, etc. In social life, it will be create isolation, withdrawal from social interactions with peers, and finally in mental and physical health. It increases anxiety, depression, and stress levels. Our project methodology, what is the foremost step in it, data collection, where a survey based questionnaire was conducted with 1800 students using a Likert scale ranging from 1 to 5, where 1 for strongly disagree to 5 for strongly agree. From these responses, we can clearly see that 35.3% students reported experiencing cyberbullying and 64.7% did not face cyberbullying. The second step is data pre-processing. In this, data cleansing is done and the missing values are replaced by the average values, which is mean and median, which means imputation and label encoding of data into bits to prepare the proper data set for training them. What are all the deep learning models we have used in our project? Then the different deep learning models to be used are LSTM, which means long short-term memory, which helps in capturing long-term dependencies in textual data. BiLSTM, bidirectional long short-term memory, which process data in both forward and backward direction and thus improving better understanding of data. GRU means gated recurrent unit, which is a simplified alternative to LSTM. Let us get into the output. After training and testing the models, this table helps in understanding which is best model. Here we can clearly see the performance metrics of three deep learning models and their accuracies, precision, F1 score, and the recalls. In models, F-dense accuracy will be 96.2. In the all models will be accuracy, precision, recall, F1 score will be provided. In our project, we have decided to built by LSTM, which is precision 98.33, then 98.35 precision, recall with 98.33, and F1 score with 98.34. Our insights are as follows. Out of this last one, that is BiLSTM performed very well among others due to bidirectional nature. That thus it effectively predicts the impact of cyberbullying on students' academic and mental well-being. To conclude, deep learning models can play a crucial role in early intervention strategies to reduce cyberbullying. There are some of future works that are going to be implemented in it by integrating real-time monitoring tools for immediate detection, by expanding the dataset with different demographics to improve model identification, and also exploring reinforcement learning for adaptive interventions. Thank you, ma'am.
Hello. Hello.
Mm,
Am I
audible,
audible?
audible, ma'am.
My question is how your model is different from the literature number 22. You have cited in the comparative analysis table a paper with reference number 22
Yes,
that
ma'am.
has also used a LSTM model, and you have also proposed a LSTM model. What is the difference between the architecture of the reference paper and your paper?
LSTM means it is not bidirectional, ma'am. If we get a comment from if we get a comment from students, both direction will be available in by LSTM. It is not there in LSTM.
I'm asking about the basic architectural difference between the reference paper 22 and your proposed model.
Output will be there, ma'am.
Okay. One another question is that how you selected the questions for the questionnaire? How many questions did you put into it? And how did you select those questions? And what is the basically what is the outcome of your LSTM model? Are you dividing it into two classes, or how many classes you are dividing the data set, or is it a regression problem, a classification problem? Please explain a little bit.
We have decided into two class labels, ma'am. One cyberbullying and for no not cyberbullying, ma'am. These are some basic questionnaire questions for collected from students, ma'am. That are divided into some category, ma'am. Health, mental health, and academics, social life. For example, in health. Uh, uh, Question is, I lost interest in activities that I once used to enjoy. Then I became easily irritable to or annoyed. Then I am afraid to express my opinions online for fear of being harassed. These are all the questions. In academics, I regularly attend classes and lectures, and I find it difficult to concentrate on my studies. Then in social life, example is I doubt my own abilities. I talk to my friends or family about negative online experiences for support. These are all the questionnaire we have provided in our to college students, ma'am.
So the sample set you have the people from where you collected this data, are those all affected by the cyberbullying, or it is a uh, normal data sample that all kind of people are there, whether cyberbullying has happened or not?
We have collected from college students, ma'am, around 1,800 students, ma'am. We have put into like at scale 1 to 5. Then we have processed into the cyberbullying affected or not affected.
Okay, 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 Shri.
Thank you, ma'am.
Thank you.
Thank you so much. Now I would like to call presenter from paper ID 480 to present their paper. Kindly show your valid ID for verification. We appreciate your cooperation. Thank you.
Okay, I'm clearly audible, I think.
Yes.
Okay, good morning, ma'am.
Good morning.
Okay, so good morning. I am Satyak Priyansh, and today I am going to present our research on advanced photoplethysmography. In this scope of work, we basically compared it was basically a comparative analysis of the three main methods which are used in remote photoplethysmography, which is the CNN, IC, and Chrome-based method. So, first of all, these are the contents we will go through during this course of the presentation. And so the first thing about is what's the problem
Your
statement.
presentation is not visible.
Oh, sorry, ma'am.
We shared the screen.
Yeah, forgot to share the screen. Extremely sorry.
It's okay.
Is the screen visible? Is it visible now?
Yes, yes.
Okay, ma'am.
Screen is visible, but yeah.
Okay, so the topic of our research was advanced photoplethysmography, in which we are basically comparing the three primary methods of remote photoplethysmography. First is based on CNN, which is a machine learning based algorithm, and the rest two are IC and Chrome based method, which are based on some signal processing techniques. Okay, so these are the contents of our presentation, which we'll go through during this course of presentation. And so the first question rises that why remote photoplethysmography? What is the need? What is the problem which this method is solving? So the simple idea behind the invention of this technique was that there are situations in which the monitoring of vital signs like the heart rate or blood pressure, uh, if it can be done remotely without any non-invasive or contact-based technique, because we know that traditionally, whenever we have to measure any vital signs from the patient, we have to use some techniques like the pulse oximeter, in which we require the physical contact with the patient itself. But situations like COVID-19 reminded us that the need for technology in which we can measure these vital signs without any contact or non-invasive technique. So RPPG helps us achieve this without any contact using simple video camera. We can monitor vital signs of the patients directly remotely. The challenges with this method is first of all is that because we are processing the entire physiological signals using video camera, there are problems with motion artifacts. If the subject is moving too much, it is very difficult for camera to capture those certain motions. The second is the lighting variation. If the lighting conditions are not very proper, then also the accuracy is heavily affected. So our objective in this research was to compare the three very majorly used methods. First one is the CNN, which is a machine learning based algorithm, which is rather new compared to the previous two, which are Chrome and ICA, which are signal processing based method. So what the impact of our this research was that we were trying to delve into the three methods. We are providing a in detail performance analysis, and also which method is more feasible in terms of real world applicability. So, first of all, before delving into the three main methods, we will have a brief overview of what really RPPG is. So, basically, traditionally we use BPG, which stands for photoplethysmography, which is a very well known technique which we use to measure heart rates. The simple idea behind photoplethysmography is quite self evident with the definition itself. With photo means light. So, basically, we use light signals to measure the blood rate. And basically, what happens is the sensor works in a way that during our cardiac cycles, during our heartbeat, what happens is that the blood volume at our tissue level changes. When we have a heartbeat, then the blood volume density near the tissue levels increases. And whenever the light is incident on it and it reflects back, the intensity of light is less reflected light is less compared to the one that was incident. So the sensor captures these movements and generates the signal. This is how traditional photoplethysmography works. Now, what remote photoplethysmography does better here is to capture these movements remotely using a video camera. Here, video camera is acting like the sensor, and the source of the natural lighting is acting as the light source itself. So it also measures the blood volume changes, and it does so is that the video camera captures that subtle blood volume changes majorly in the region of this forehead and cheeks where the blood volume changes are visible. It is not visible to the human eye, but the camera, if we use very good quality camera, we can detect that minute changes easily. So we have categorized the methods we have studied into two types. The first are the traditional signal processing based method, which is the Chrome and ICA. The second is the machine learning based method, which is the CN, with, as we know that it is a convolutional neural network based method. Okay, so uh, about before diving into our methodology, I want to give a brief overview of all the three methods which were used. So the first method is the Chrome, or in if I have to full name, it's the chrominance based method. As the name suggests, what we use here is a three color red, green, and blue color channels to process the signal. The main idea is that in the property, whenever we incident a green light on the subject, so the green light, yes, ma'am.
Excuse me, Sattvi, the slide that we could see is about methodology, whereas you are talking about something else, I think.
No, actually, ma'am, before diving into the methodology, I wanted to give a brief overview about the three methods
Okay,
which were
so there is no
there.
slide for that. What are you talking about?
No,
Method and IC, don't you have slides for those?
actually, ma'am, the main objective of our experiment was the comparison, not a detailed discussion on the method itself. So,
Okay. Okay.
should I directly delve into the methodology itself then?
No, no,
Okay.
continue according to your preparation.
Okay, so the Chrome based method is basically we use three color channels. Although the green colors light is most affected by these blood volume changes in our tissue cells, to improve the reliability of our signal, we are also using red and green color channels. Basically, we are using some mathematical parameters to adjust the color changes in all of the three color channels to generate a reliable signal. The second method is IC, which is the independent component analysis. It is a statistical technique in which we operate under the assumption that the our for I mean the heart rate signal which we aim to obtain using this method, uh, it will be the complete video which we are processing will be a combination of multiple signals, among which one of the signals will be heart rate signal. There would be noise signal, there will be signal from the changes in lighting condition now. So what independent component analysis tries to achieve is to statistical using some statistical techniques try to separate the signals, assuming that the obtained signals which we have are uncorrelated. So this is the basic idea behind independent component analysis. And the third method is the convolutional neural network. So this is completely different from the two signal processing techniques. Here we are not diving to much of the steps which we have to do in the pre-processing and things like that in signal processing. Here basically the video camera directly detects the uh, video. It processes the video. The machine learning algorithm based on 3D CNN architecture, in which we use the both spatial and temporal features of the video to capture the differences. And the algorithm based on its data set learns directly by mapping a specific video frame and then mapping to its correct heart rate. It predicts the heart rate. So now coming to our methodology, basically our experimental setup consisted of basically a camera. So it was like resolution was like 1080 pixels and 30 frames per second. We were recording those videos. And to measure the ground truth, we used a clinical grade pulse oximeter sensor, and we wanted to test the robustness under the more realistic conditions. So we have designed 5 different conditions under which we tested this. The first is where the very ideal condition in which we have very consistent indoor controlled lighting system. The subject is kept very stationary. The second is the subject is still kept stationary, but we were varying the light intensity very much. Then we introduced some motion artifacts by introducing some slight head movements. Then we increased those head movements. After the fifth time was the most intense. In this, what we did was that as per some physical, the subjects were presented to some physical activities due to which their heart rate was elevated at a very higher range. So under these conditions, we were testing the subject. Now, so this is actually the brief overview of the all three methods. And so the signal processing technique. These are the major 6 steps in which the whole signal processing algorithms like CNN and ICA work. First is the phase detection and tracking using our Euler-Jones algorithm. Second is the region of interest. The region of interest is, the particular area of our faces where the signals can be detected easily, which is particularly this forehead area and near the cheeks. The third step is the spatial averaging of pixels within that ROI. Then we use basically we know that the heart rate about 42 to 40 beats per minute is the range we have selected. So using algorithms like fast Fourier transform, we found out the Fourier transform and find that 0.7 to 4 hertz range is the ideal range of our heart rate. So using the scripts, we basically filtered these signals using a bandpass filter. These were all implemented using Python, and it was a completely software-based process. Application of specific RPG technique, because specifically here we are talking about IC and Chrome because signal processing methods are applicable to those methods only. And which we after the fast Fourier transform analysis, we detected that which frequency band specially shows the peak in the figure to estimate the heart rate. So to compare these all three methods, we use mainly 4 parameters, which are rather simple. The first is the mean absolute error. From basically here we sample all the measurements and compare it with the difference of the pulse oximeter.
Excuse me.
Yes, ma'am.
Sorry to interrupt. However, due to time constraint, I would like to request you to kindly wind up in another 2 minutes. Thank you.
Okay. The second is the root mean square error, and third is Pearson's correlation coefficient, which we are basically use to find if how much our measured the measured parameter compares with the ground truth, means the correlation factor. The fourth is the success rate, which we are estimating that how close is how many of our measured data sets are like within the range of plus minus 5 beats per minute of the ground truth measurement. Okay, so basically here are our results. What we found was like this is the basic the 4 parameters, and this is the overall measurement and the performance comparison of the 3 methods. So ICA, Chrome, and CNN. It is very self-evident here that CNN is just like outperforming all of them. The success rate is about 94.2%, and the correlation is also better. And it has the least mean square error, mean absolute error, and root mean square error. Now this was under different conditions. We tested all these methods among 30 subjects under 5 different conditions. So these are the results under different conditions. So what we can see from the graph that bar chart we just saw was that CNN clearly outperforms both the Chrome and ICA based methods. Chrome provides a balance, but what we observed was that Chrome was struggling where the lighting conditions were different and stuff. So I think this was across different heart ranges. We were also interested in analyzing that is it dependent on the heart rate ranges itself. So we can see that clearly at higher heart rate ranges, all the methods are performing slightly worse, but CNN still does it better here. This is the plan and plot. Basically, we are checking that which methods perform consistent, and we can clearly see the deviation in the ICA method. There is a very large deviation, and the CNN method is very close to 0 in the y-axis, so it is performing better here clearly. So this was the conclusion from that CNN has the least bias and narrowest limits of agreement. IEC shows largest deviations, especially at higher dates. So what we conclude from this experiment is that if the performance, if the accuracy is our highest priority, then clearly CNN is the best choice. But what we observed was that CNN is also very computationally heavy. It requires a lot of computational resources, or it is also very time taking. Chrome provides a balance between efficiency and performance, and IC is least accurate under robust, conditions which are like difficult, lots of motion artifacts and lighting conditions. Future work, what we found was that there is a very great need of developing efficient algorithms in which we can manage the complexity of the methods and also improve upon accuracy. Some of the things which we found was that a work on hybrid models is a better choice on this. So these are some of the main references which we have. The complete references are mentioned, cited in our paper. So yes, that's it. Thank you, ma'am.
Thank you, Satvik. No questions from my side.
Okay, ma'am.
Thank you so much. Now, I would like to call presenter from paper ID 510 to present their paper. Kindly show your valid ID for verification.
I'm sorry, I cannot hear you properly.
I'm saying kindly show your valid ID for verification.
Sure.
Am I audible? We appreciate your cooperation. Thank you. You can continue.
Thank you. Greetings, esteemed professor, and thank you so much for taking my research paper into consideration. Myself, Hitti Bansal, and I am an 11th grade student, and I have done this research paper. Greetings, esteemed professors, and thank you so much for taking my research paper into consideration. Myself, Hitti Bansal, and I am a grade 11 student. My very elegant mother just served us delicious noodles. Come on, it's time to grow up out of all these eight planets from our solar system. I am up with this paper on improved exoplanet detection through data augmentation and machine learning. Introduction. The study of exoplanets has transformed our understanding of planetary formation, evolution, and the potential for extraterrestrial life. Until recently, the only laboratory available to evaluate this phenomena was our own solar system. The discovery of exoplanets remained elusive until advancements in technology enabled their detection. Early detection methods primarily focused on changes in light intensity, as observed through radial velocity measurements. This technique provided critical insights such as measuring orbital eccentricities and planetary masses. However, this method faces challenges due to temporarily coupled experimental and astrophysical noise, making the identification of smaller planets extremely difficult. With the launch of NASA's Kepler Space Telescope, the field of exoplanet detection experienced a paradigm shift. The Kepler mission's primary objective was to investigate the diversity and organization of planetary systems by observing periodic dips in stars' brightness, indicative of a transitioning planet. Despite this revolutionary design, many of the planets detected were near the mission sensitivity limits, requiring extensive human participation for classification and validation. As astronomical data sets grow exponentially with the advent of new telescope, conventional predictional techniques have been inadequate. Machine learning offers a scalable and efficient alternative capable of detecting patterns within vast datasets. However, ML models often struggle with imbalanced dataset, where majority class dominates the prediction. To address this study integrates SMOTE with ML models, enhancing the detection of minority classes. Here are some insights which we took from some related work. Techniques for deep learning and machine learning have shown to be widely relevant in a variety of scientific research fields. The Kepler Space Telescope's exceptional design has photometric accuracy and unparalleled pointing accuracy at the 1 millionth ppm scales, making it possible to find even smaller exoplanets and terrestrial planets. By measuring the thermal emission of exoplanets, a space-based MIR, null interferometer, is used with the aim to estimate its exoplanet detection performance. It has been found that the interference model of a deep neural network's lack of expressiveness and transparency makes it challenging to believe in these results. We followed a three-step methodology, which included analyzing the traditional transit method, machine learning based methods, and then data augmentation using SMOTE. Traditional transit method. One widely used approach for locating exoplanets, that is, planets beyond our solar system, is the transit method. Using telescopes fitted with sensitive photometers, astronomers track a star's brightness over time. When a planet transits or passes in front of its host star, from our point of view, the star's brightness momentarily decreases, showing the planets orbiting around the star. So this is a image which shows a planet orbiting around the star. And this is the basis for the transit method. It helps track the brightness over time. And the dips in the light help examine whether or not the curve is an exoplanet curve or not. So these are the curves which we generated. So the first one is a light curve for an exoplanet, because there are dips in light at regular intervals of time. So we get to know that it's a exoplanet. And the second one is a graph for a non-exoplanet. So we can see the dips happening at irregular interval of time for light. So probably there's a non-exoplanet. Then we moved on with so here the light curve represents the reduction in the brightness, and we see if the brightness of the star lowers periodically, it can be assumed that the orbiting planet is responsible for these dips. Kepler's Space Telescope, the NASA spacecraft, has detected over 1,000 exoplanets by searching for this distinctive decrease in brightness. So here this got a catch. Then moving on to the machine learning models. So basically, we used, with a clearer understanding of the data in hand, different models can be used to investigate which solutions work best for exoplanet star classification, and in order to better plan future missions that delve into chasm of space surrounding us. This exploration will also help us develop intuition regarding the analysis and utilization of raw data from the satellites. So after we analyze these methods with the X-train and the X-test method, we started to generate these confusion matrices, as I believe that the confusion matrices help to understand the model performance and to evaluate the model's classification performance on the training and testing data set. So we compared these decision matrices for the KNN model and the logistic regression model, and found out that the KNN model was more accurate than the logistic regression models. as clearly the true positive rate for the KNN model is 5050, whereas for the logistic regression model, it's 4680. So yeah. Then we did the data augmentation with SMOTE, fake it till we make it. So this technique is used to deal with imbalanced data sets. SMOTE generates data for minority classes so that the model always does not predict the majority values. So that means that we make the new exoplanet data to train the models with it. And data augmentation implemented with the help of functions like SMOTE X-train and SMOTE Y-train, we did that. And we also use the training and testing accuracy obtained using random forest classifier without data augmentation and with data augmentation through SMOTE technique. And here are the results. So there was definitely a change after we did the SMOTE testing. Then we did hyperparameter optimization. This plays a critical role in enhancing the performance of machine learning models. So hyperparameter tuning improved our model efficiency with parameters such as number of trees in the forest, minimum maximum depth, and minimum sample split carefully optimized to maximize the accuracy. Detailed tuning matrices demonstrated significant gains over default configurations. The Adam optimizer was so we used the neural network with fine-tuned using a set of hyperparameters that included layer dimensions to capture complex patterns in the data. The Adam optimizer was selected for its efficiency in handling sparse gradients, and binary cross entropy was employed as the loss function to address the binary classification task. And the model was trained for 40 epochs with accuracy as the primary metric, ensuring the balance between computational efficiency and predictive performance. This careful selection of hyperparameters contributed to improved accuracy observed in exoplanet. The dataset sourced from NASA's Kepler mission includes features critical for exoplanet detection, such as time series flux data and orbital characteristics. The data underwent preprocessing steps, including normalization, handling mission values, and feature selection to increase and ensure optimal performance of ML models. The preprocessed data was divided into training and testing subsets to evaluate the model performance. So here are the results and the conclusion. So multiple decision trees are combined in the random forest ensemble model, which can handle intricate nonlinear interactions in data. Random forest can be very useful with dealing with unbalanced data sets because it combines the output of multiple trees, lowering the possibility of overfitting and guaranteeing more reliable predictions. Because the algorithm classifies the neighborhood based on majority classes, K nearest neighbor, that is KNN, often performs badly on imbalanced data sets and may overlook minority class samples even after SMOTE. Without substantially changing the underlying structure of the data, SMOTE may balance class distributions and enhance performance in random forest model. However, it might noise in more straightforward models like the logistic regression, the linear regression, and KNN, which would result in poorer performance. So random tree emerged as the best performing algorithm with training accuracy of 96.79% and testing accuracy of 94.82% after applying this mode. And KNN and logistics showed comparatively lower performance. So hyperparameter tuning further improved their efficiency, as I discussed about the parameters earlier. AdaBoost and Random Forest perform exceptionally well in detecting exoplanets. The inclusion of SMOTE has enhanced the performance across models, especially the Random Forest, and AdaBoost determines and demonstrates high efficiency by intervailing learning from misclassified data points, leveraging decision trees as weak classifiers. The study's results underscore the importance of addressing class imbalance in dataset to ensure reliable predictions. While random forest yielded the best results, the future work will ensure ensemble methods that combine classifiers for enhanced accuracy. Additionally, advanced deep learning models such as convolutional neural networks could be applied to extract richer features from the light curve data. Moving on to the future scope. So, future research should also focus on validating these methods with larger, more diverse data sets. Collaboration with astronomy experts can ensure that pre-processing aligns closely with domain-specific requirements. Interdisciplinary approach combining data science, astronomy, and planetary sciences hold the key to unlocking new frontiers in the search of extraterrestrial life. And thank you so much.
Hello, Kitty. Am I audible?
I'm so sorry, I cannot hear you for some reason.
Am I audible now?
Oh, yeah.
I truly appreciate your dedication and passion for research at such a young age. What motivated you for the research?
Ma'am, so I think, so I daily hear about these worldly problems, global warming, this, that. And the only thing which has came up till now is people are saying that after Earth ends, uh, there is no such alternative to go to except we found some resources on Mars. So it's really time we look at the exoplanets. So I got excited about exoplanets when I heard about it. I was like, oh, it has aliens, it is out of the world. And I studied a bit about the exoplanets. So I got to know about these traditional methods like radial velocity, transit, etc. So this excited me. So I went on and asked on research so I used general Google sources like Google Scholar, etc. But at times I got stuck. I took help from my school teachers to help me.
Okay, so one question from my side, whether it is a literature review or you did some experimental analysis for this research?
Ma'am, so you can say that it is like sort of a mix of both. So we took some insights from some other researchers' work, like I mentioned in my related work thing. But then at the same time, we also did some experimentation, like most people's either use SMART or the hyper optimization technique. So we used both, we analyzed all the models. So you can say that it is a research paper, but it also it does not it also underscores other methods, like other already discovered methods.
That's it from my side.
Thank you so much.
Thank you so much. Now I would like to call presenter for paper ID 347 to present their paper. Presenter 347. Kindly show your valid ID for verification.
Is it visible?
Yes. Thank you. You can continue.
You're not audible.
Oh, sorry.
Shikha ma'am, please continue for 3 minutes. I will come back in just a quick 3 minutes. Okay?
Okay.
Is it audible? Yeah. Good morning to everyone. Thank you for giving this opportunity to present my case study paper on hybrid ensemble model for earthquake prediction. So
So in this paper, we can have this is the agenda. This contains the 6 parts: introduction, problem statement, methodology, and results, and conclusion. Finally, ends with the reference. So introduction, it deals about the earthquake prediction. Is mainly a huge natural disaster that frequently occur in the regions like Japan, where the tectonic plates and the movement of that earth plates are continuously affecting the region. Like we can hear from everywhere that Japan frequently facing the earthquake issues. In actually, they are facing this issue with even though they have the technologies for predicting and forecasting the earthquake, but that methodology will be quite old, because they use the old method with like after they will predict from the past data for the particular regions. So in our paper, we taken the regions in Kanto and Tohoku and the main 9 regions in Japan which are affected by the earthquake frequently. So this is the problem statement. So in our problem statement, we state that this our approach will forecast the earthquake for the regions and with the enzymal learning. So the traditional methods like seismic gap theory and historical seismic analysis often fail in analyzing the complex tectonic behavior of Japan. So in this current world, we have to forecast the earthquake to avoid the loss of the human lives. So the traditional method struggles with the precision necessity. It pushed our necessity for advanced machine learning models for warning system. So significance of our research is earthquake magnitude forecasting by integrating the hybrid ensemble model, enhancing the disaster preparedness, risk mitigation, and it contributes advancing earthquake prediction techniques. So in our data set, we are taken from the USGS, which is the United States geographical data, which is provided by the United States government. It's an official government organization providing the data related to the geographical. We taken the data from 1970 to 2004. It contains the 25,330 records and nearly 24 variables. This data is taken after the pre-processing of actual raw data. So we handle the null values using removed during the data pre-processing. We removed unnecessary columns like ID and updated time and place where it in the raw data. So encoding, we use the label encoding method to convert the string to the numerical values. Though we use the training split, train and split type to train the model. We took 80% for training and 20% for testing. So next, come to the methodology of what we implement is initially we will take the data which then we will pre-process and split into 80-20 ratio. Then we will give it to the ARIMA. So ARIMA is basically a classical model, mainly we used for time series based and which outperforms well in like what we are doing now. Like it performs well for the temporal data. So initially we will give the ARIMA model. It will predict the sum of that data and observe the trends and patterns from the data set, and it cannot reach up to the level of what we are expecting. So it have some residual from that model. So this residual will be given to the base learners. So these are the base learners: GRU, LSTM, CNN, and SGBoost. So this is method of ensemble learning. We will give the residual data to these 4 learners. These 4 learners at each level, it will each model have a separately given that training residual data. It will predict, and this combines that one prediction, and it will be given to the linear regression. So as linear regression is a less complex model, it can perform well on linearly linear data, such as it can go outperforms for a prediction like applications. So finally we can have the high performance ensemble learning once the linear regression combines all the predictions from the above base learners. So in this approach, as I said, the base models are ARIMA, GRU, LSTM, and convolution neural network SGBoost. So why we use the SGBoost is that it combines some multiple weak trees to enhance the prediction. So CNN we used for observing the trends. The LSTM is here used for because we use the temporal data. So it can keep the memory for a long time because it contains the huge time gap between 1970 to 2024. So the LSTM is good at observing the data for a large term, large duration. So ARIMA, as I said, is used for classical model used for this type of time related data set. GRU is a RNN used. It's similarly like ARIMA. It enhances the prediction level to the next. So the baseline is a little complex model. We choose the linear regression, and it's used for improving the accuracy. The hypertuning was done by grid search. So evaluation matrix, we use MSE, RMSE, and R square. So these are the results. We compared our model with some of the another models like ARIMA plus transformer, ARIMA and GRU, and ARIMA greater GRU and SGBoost and CNN alone. And we compared with ARIMA, GRU, logistic regression, and SGBoost, and finally our model. So when comparing to the other model, our model outperforms in a better way. We can observe from that R square. We can drastically improve the accuracy by combining the multiple models to enhance the forecasting. So in right side, we can see the graph of actual and predicted artifact. We can see that blue line says about the blue graph says the actual data. So our predicted data by our model, we can see that how much it is fit into that. So conclusion, the hybrid models achieved an R square value of 0.97. So it outperforms individual models in earthquake magnitude prediction. So in our reference paper and cited paper, many authors use the standalone model like linear regression and KNN model to predict the earthquake forecasting. So it can go up to the 79 to 89% of accuracy. So in our model, we combine multiple models of a DL and ML model to achieve the better performance. So in improved seismic forecasting, combining these models can reduce the error. So real world impact, the models support early warning system and disaster mitigation. So future enhancement will be integration of deep learning models with much more complex models such as transformer and including into our ensemble. So and next to that, these are the data taken from 1970 to 2004 up to the 9th month of 2024. So in our future scope, we will giving the live data from the USGS as a API to that model. So we can keep monitoring what is the forecasting of that earthquake. So integrating the real-time seismic data, so model can enhance the prediction accuracy. So up-to-date information for more earthquake forecasting. So these are the reference we took. Thank you.
Hello, Niklesh.
Yeah.
Can you please explain a bit how did you implement the hybrid stacking model?
So this model.
This is the model.
So initially, the ARIMA model is we planned as it is usually when we are handling the temporal model, everyone go with ARIMA. So we kept the ARIMA as a initial model. So once we passed our data to the ARIMA, it captures some of the trends in the earthquake data, like it goes with the magnitude type and latitude, longitude, and some of the other data it cannot catch or observe from that data set because it lacks in those extraction of feature extraction. So then we
Okay, Niklesh, it's clear now.
thank you.
That's it from my side.
Thank you so much. That was the final paper presenter. I would like to thank each paper presenter who presented their paper on their hard work. It was really a fruitful experience. I would now request Ms. Shikha Batla to present Dr. Manisha Jangra a certificate as a token of our appreciation for being the session chair.
Thank you so much.
Thank you, ma'am, for being a part of this event. Thank you for joining. I hope you
Thank
enjoy
you.
the session.
Yes, ma'am. It is my pleasure to hear all the researchers.
Thank you so much, ma'am. Your presence really lifted the entire session experience. Paper presenters who presented their paper will receive their certificates via email shortly. Thank you for your valuable contributions. I would now request all the paper presenters to switch on their camera for a photo. Thank you.
Helena, I would
I
not
would now
like
like
Dr.
Dr.
Manisha
Manisha Jangra's permission to
close the
close the
session.
session.
It's
It's
been a
been a privilege to have you all today and make this session a success.
we
We
thank
thank you, Dr. Manisha Jangra, once again to
you
take
so
some time out of your valuable schedule and be a part of SPIN 2025.
Thank you, Nandini.
Thank, thank you for being a part of SPIN 2025. We'll resume with the next session at 11:45. Thank you.
12:50.
The next session will be at 12:15.
Technology, Amity University, Uttar Pradesh, feel honored to welcome you all on the second day of the 12th International Signal Processing and Integrated Networks Conference, SPIN 2025. I also wish to extend a warm welcome to all the delegates and the paper presenters present here. It is a great privilege to have Dr. T. Veerakumar with us today. I would like to invite Mishika Vatla to present a sapling to Dr. T. Veerakumar.
Welcome, sir.
Yeah, good afternoon, madam.
Good afternoon, sir.
Dr. T. Veerakumar is an associate professor in the Department of Electronics and Communication Engineering, National Institute of Technology, Goa. He graduated with a BE in Electronics and Communication Engineering degree from IVS College of Engineering and Technology, Dindigul. In 2000 to 2004, he did an ME degree in Applied Electronics from PSG College of Technology, Coimbatore in 2004 to 2006, and PhD in Image Denoising from Anna University, Chennai in 2008 to 2013. He co-authored the textbooks titled Digital Image Processing and Digital Signal Processing, published by McGraw-Hill, and another textbook titled Digital Signal Processing Illustration Using Python, published by Springer. He has published around 70 research articles in reputed journals and conferences. His areas of interest include signal and image processing, biomedical image processing, object detection, and tracking. Welcome once again, sir. Sir, would you like to call upon the paper presenters or would you prefer if I did it?
Yeah, please go ahead. Yeah, you ask them to start presentation. Hello, am I audible?
Now, I would like to call presenters from the paper ID 541 to present their paper. Kindly show your valid ID for verification.
It's my ID.
Thank you. You may present.
Yeah, okay. So good afternoon. My name is Purnima. I'm I'm delighted to present our research on optimizing ICU patient management through predictive analysis. This work was conducted alongside my classmates Anusha, Sahana, and Shweta under the guidance of Dr. Uday Kulkarni and Shashank Hegde at the KLE Technological University, Hubli. So here's the introduction. The intensive care unit plays a crucial role in managing the life-threatening conditions.
Purnima?
Yeah, yes.
Yeah, just to make it full screen mode. Slideshow.
Sorry, sir.
No, you make it your presentation in slideshow mode, so that we can see you on the full screen.
So is it visible now?
It's visible, but you make it full screen mode. Otherwise, you press F5, button F5.
It's in slideshow mode only, sir.
No, it's not in slideshow mode. Okay, go ahead.
So is it now in slideshow mode?
No, you go ahead. You go to slide number 2.
Okay. So in introduction, I was saying about the intensive care unit are the critical environments where patients with life-threatening conditions receive a continuous monitoring and care. Uh,
Purnima, sorry to interrupt. Please put your
Yeah.
presentation in slideshow mode.
Ma'am, actually, it's showing in slideshow only now.
You have to click on from beginning. You can see on the left hand side, top left.
Yeah.
Click on from beginning. Yeah.
Yeah.
No.
Is it in slideshow now?
I'm not able to see the slideshow mode. Sir, you can confirm if.
No, that's you better you press F5 button. Just you press F5.
Yeah, actually, I pressed the F5 button only.
No, it's not changed actually. No, but no, otherwise you just rejoin. Means when you will close your screen and again you just open it.
Okay. Sir, actually, I have done the slideshow. It's not visible.
Okay, no problem. You continue. Go to second slide. Okay.
Okay. In introduction, I was saying about the intensive care units are a critical environments where patients with life-threatening conditions receive the continuous monitoring and care. Predicting patient mortality in ICU is critical for timely medical interventions and resource allocation. However, traditional risk assessment methods often fail to capture the complex patterns in the patient data, leading to a delayed decision making, which leads to mortality increase in mortality rate of patient. So our problem statement deals with this. In ICU mortality predicting is challenging due to rapidly changing patient conditions. Reliable predictive models can assist in timely decision making and resource optimization. Now I'll hand over to my co-author, Sahana.
Good morning, everyone. I would like to start with objectives. So, our main objective of this project is to develop a predictive framework, which is to build a predictive model using LSTM and RNN to analyze ICU patient data and forecast mortality risks. And second is to enhance the early detection, which is to identify high risk patients by early analyzing of their health data for timely medical interventions. And the next objective is to optimize the resource allocation, which is to use predictive insights to manage ICU resources effectively, ensuring critical patients receive timely care. And the next objective is to address class imbalance, where we apply techniques like random oversampler to balance the data set, preventing bias in the model predictions. Whereas next objective is to evaluate the model performances, which measures accuracy using AUC, ROC, which is our rack precision, and recall and F1 score to ensure reliable predictions. Next objective is to compare model efficiency, which is to analyze and compare LSTM and RNN models to determine the best approach for ICU mortality prediction. Now I would like to hand over to my co-author Anusha.
Good afternoon, everyone. So I'm continuing from dataset preparation. So the dataset we used in this study is the WITS Datathon 2020 dataset, which includes ICU admission records collected from over 200 medical institutions worldwide. It contains a wide range of patient details, including vital signs, laboratory test results, demographic characteristics, and ICU specific factors. The dataset consisting of 1,31,021 patient records, which have been split into 91,713 samples for training and 39,308 samples for testing. To ensure the only most relevant information is used for prediction, we conducted feature selection and selected 65 key features from the dataset. These features provide critical insights into patient health conditions and help improve model performance. So, coming to methodology, the goal of this project is to predict whether an ICU patient will survive or not based on the time series medical data. To achieve this, the dataset was divided into two parts: labeled and unlabeled. Labeled is also a trained dataset, and unlabeled is test dataset. Labeled training data. This part of the dataset consists in patient records where the mortality outcome is known. The model learns from these examples to understand patterns that lead to survival or death. Unlabeled test data. This contains ICU patient records without mortality labels. The trained model is tested on this dataset to predict outcomes for new patients. Before feeding the data into the model, we performed data cleaning and normalization to ensure consistency. This included handling missing values to avoid bias, standardizing numerical features such as blood pressure, heart rate, and oxygen levels to ensure that all values are on the same scale, encoding categorical variables like gender and ICU type so that they can be properly understood by the model. Since the dataset is high dimensional, we used principal component analysis to reduce dimensionality while retaining the most important information. This step improves model efficiency and prevents unnecessary noise from affecting predictions. Model selection. Since the ICU data consists of time dependent medical records, a model capable of processing sequential data was required. Initially, a recurrent neural network was considered as it can capture temporal dependencies in time series data. However, RNNs face a challenge known as the vanishing gradient problem, where they struggle to retain long term dependencies in large datasets. To address this limitation, we selected long short term memory, that is LSTM networks. LSTMs are an advanced form of RNNs that use memory cells and gating mechanisms to selectively retain important information while forgetting irrelevant details.
This makes them highly effective for long-term dependency learning, which is crucial for ICU patient analysis, where past health conditions significantly impact future outcomes. Coming to model training, the LSTM model architecture is used in this. In this project consists of two LSTM layers that process the sequential medical data and learn patterns over time. Dropout layers between LSTM layers Dropout layers between LSTM layers to prevent overfitting and improve generalization. A fully connected output layer with a sigmoid activation function to predict mortality probabilities. To train the model efficiently, we use the ADAM optimizer, which dynamically adjusts learning rates to speed up convergence. The model was trained for 100 epochs, allowing it to learn complex patterns in the ICU patient data. To evaluate model performance, we use the following key metrics: precision, recall, AUC, ROC, F1 score. For model evaluation and predictions, these metrics are used. After training the model was tested on the unlabeled test dataset to predict ICU patient mortality. The predictions were analyzed by comparing them with actual patient outcomes. The performance metrics confirmed that the LSTM model effectively captured time series patterns in the ICU patient data, leading to improved mortality predictions. By identifying high risk patients early, this model can assist healthcare professionals in making timely decisions about patient care, potentially improving survival rates.
Hello.
Yes, sir.
Whatever you are speaking, it's not synchronized with whatever slides. So
There might be some network laggings.
No, based on that, you are seeing the screen, or without seeing the screen, you are talking.
I'm seeing the screens.
That's it. But whatever you are telling, but we are not able to see on the screen. Okay.
I have explained the key points, sir. Whatever in the methodology we have key points.
Okay, go ahead. Go.
Those key points I was explaining, and the diagram, flowchart diagram.
Okay, go ahead. Go.
Yes, sir. I have explained this methodology part and architecture overview. Now I'll hand over to my co-author to continue.
Training, we have split the data set into 80% training and 20% validation with a learning rate of 0.001 and the batch size of 32. And the epochs, we used 100 epochs to run the model. And the results we have got is LSTM performed high with accuracy of 92.99 and RNN, whereas RNN model has achieved 84%. From this, we can clearly see that the LSTM has performed very well on predicting the mortality rate of patients. So LSTM superior predictive capabilities with higher ROC precision and recall and F1 score compared to RNN make it preferred model for ICU mortality prediction due to its ability to effectively learn temporal patterns and minimize overfitting. Whereas RNN has the issue of vanishing gradient. It does not deals with long-term dependencies. So from the results, we got that LSTM is better with performance. In conclusion, our model achieved a training accuracy of 93.85 on training and validation 92.99. It shows a strong generalization, minimizing overfitting and ensuring reliable performance. We utilized sequential layers and dropout regularizations to effectively learn temporal patterns from patient data. improving model robustness. The model outperformed RNN approach in distinguish between survival and mortality cases, making it effective for ICU risk assessment. The model aids in early risk assessment, optimizing ICU resource allocation, and improving patient outcomes, enabling timely medical intervention. The future scope is to go with integration of real-time patient data and by incorporating continuously updated patient vitals and lab results, and development of the second is to go with multi-class models or comprehensive ICU decision support, which is to instead of binary classification, multi-class models can provide more comprehensive decision. Implementation of explainable AI is better for clinical interpretability, ensuring that the healthcare professionals can interpret and trust model predictions, leading to better informed decisions. So this is about our research project. Thank you.
You don't have any references?
We did not include that slide.
Okay, it's fine. I have some few queries, okay?
Yes.
What are the important features in your data sets used for the classification?
Important features like vital signs, which includes heart rate, blood pressure, and respiratory rate, and oxygen saturation, which is SpO2, and temperature of patient. Like more, we have used like 64 features. In that, lab results are also included, like blood glucose levels, hemoglobin, white blood cells, and lactate levels.
Good. See, used this LSTM and RNN, whether it is supervised learning or unsupervised learning.
We have first trained the model on supervised and then predicted on unsupervised learning. So
Then how did you test the result?
By comparing it with trained prediction. So in trained we have two data sets, which was like first one was training and testing, one was labeled and another was unlabeled, which is test. We first train our model on training data set, and then split that training into validation, and based on that validation performance we have predicted on test data set.
Actually, you have taken 80% for training and 20% for validation.
Yes.
What about testing percentage?
Testing was another unlabeled data set, which was provided by Kaggle itself.
But what about the features? Features are same or different?
Same, sir.
Okay, it's fine. Good, very good work.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you so much. I would request the authors to please show their valid ID for verification.
Okay.
Myself, Sahana. This is my ID.
Fine.
Thank you.
Yeah, 1 second.
Anusha.
Myself, Anusha. This is my valid ID. Sorry. This is my valid ID.
Okay. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you for your cooperation. Now, I would like to call presenter from the paper ID 542 to present their paper. Please show your valid ID for verification.
Yeah, hi. Am I audible?
Yes.
Yeah, wonderful.
Yes, thank you. You can continue.
Uh, am I bound to remain my video on, or can I turn it off?
You can turn it off.
You have to switch on your camera all the time when you are giving the
No problem.
presentation.
No problem. No problem. Okay. Yeah, is my screen visible to you?
Yes, please continue.
Yeah. So, hello everyone. This is Kushagra Diwan this side, and my paper ID is 542. The topic is comparative performance analysis of enhanced LSTM models for stock price prediction. The objective was to perform or to evaluate the effectiveness of enhanced LSTM models and compare their performance with the traditional methods and the traditional deep learning methods or the traditional supervised learning methods, which includes regular machine learning methods as well. So the objective or the intuition why we took stock prices over here, because the stock prices tends to be very volatile as compared to the regular other data sets which I encountered. They were not volatile, whereas the stock prices, they were relatively volatile. I would not say immensely volatile, but yeah, they were relatively volatile, and they were not cyclical in nature. If I would have to take weather data set was relatively very cyclical in nature. By cyclical, I mean it was very seasonal. We would have spring, we would have summer, then we would have autumn. So by this, it was very cyclical in nature. Whereas stock prices, they tend to remain non-cyclical in nature because they are bound by a lot of other factors like earnings, political climate, and investor sentiment, I would say. So there are a lot of challenges as I'm sorry. There are a lot of challenges as I said that macroeconomic indicators, if GDP is falling, then the particular stock or the large cap especially will are bound to fall. So the presence of noise and the presence of external factors, like if in a state or if in a country a particular political party has won the elections, then the investor sentiment would increase. They will tend to become happier, and they will tend to there will be more purchasing in the market, and similar thing happens in the stock market. And so this is the intuition by stock prices, the data set for the stock prices. So the next question was why we took LSTM. So the traditional method like RNN, or I'll start with ANN. The major drawback with ANN was it was not there was no method of back propagation. By back propagation, I mean there was no feedback loop included. So in LSTM particularly, there was feedback loop. Now one would ask that in RNN also we have feedback loops, then why RNN was not selected? Why LSTM only? The major plausible reason or convincing reason over here was in RNN it was not able to capture long-term data. It only was able to capture short-term data. It works very well with short-term data, but because my data set is quite enormous, it is very laborious for the model to do its training. So that is the reason why LSTM was taken. The data set is a 12-year data set of Adani Enterprises. So yeah, the advantages of LSTM, as I said, it captures complex patterns very clearly and very evidently. So it can automatically learn relevant features. No doubt, manual feature engineering is required. It is done, but it is relatively less as compared to other traditional models. So related work or the earlier work which has been done is through traditional method and existing machine learning method like SVMs, ANNs, and CNNs. CNNs have emerged prominent use cases over here because they work primarily on images. So researchers, what you earlier or what they have been trying to do is they perform the analysis on the technical indicators. They perform the analysis on the graphs. So the analysis are done over that. So research objective is to perform two particular enhanced LSTM models. to compare their effectiveness. One was regular LSTM model enhanced, regular LSTM model hyper tuned with Optuna, and the second was LSTM model with an error correction mechanism. So over here in error correction mechanism, what we did was we took an average error correction of 3 days, past 3 days, and we then calculated we then predicted the next day prices. So methodology, I'll just give a brief glimpse of my methodology. So the data set, as I mentioned, it was of Adani Enterprises. So covering the period from 2012 to 2024. So the data set was sourced from Yahoo Finance. The features were taken as open price, high price, low price, closing price, and trading volume. These were the original features, and there were two more derived features, which were the moving averages and the regular averages as well. So LSTM, it has a very, I would say, novel architecture, not the ones which RNNs or ANNs have. So it basically encompasses 3 gates, which is input gate, forget gate, and output gate. So input gate, what it basically does is it takes the input, whereas the forget gate, it tends to forget certain things. So that is the uniqueness and that is the novelty of this model, that it tends to forget. So it won't just capture all the data and do the analysis. It would take certain data and it would leave certain data. So by the word, I'm emphasizing the word certain over here. The selection of certain data is based on some relevant parameters, which needs to be considered while performing the analysis. So it addresses vanishing gradients. The global minima can be achieved relatively easier, whereas the global minima in the earlier prominent methods tends to take time. So in the first model, I performed LSTM, regular LSTM, and the hyperparameters were enhanced through Optuna or were derived from Optuna. In the second method, I performed LSTM hypertuned with Optuna with an error correction mechanism. So let me take you through how Optuna works. Optuna is nothing. Optuna is an open source framework. It is a Bayesian search technique. So before Optuna, let me talk you through the earlier prominent methods for hyperparameter tuning. There were random search and grid search. Now, how random search and grid search used to work was it would take all the plausible combinations. It would not use any evolutionary algorithm or any algorithm. It would consider all the plausible or all the possible combinations within a certain range. If I were to say that explore the combination between 1 to 10, so it would take 1 to 10 each integer it would take. So in the hyperparameters, we just don't have one hyperparameters. We have number of hyperparameters. So we have learning rate, we have dropout rate, and n number of parameters that we have to provide it. So in other traditional models, so all the possibilities had to be explored. We could not leave any possibility because the models were made in such a manner. Now in Optuna, it uses a Bayesian search. Now what it will do is after an objective function is run on particular values, which we call as trial, it will save the objective value within it. So after the objective value is saved within it, it will then perform the trial on another set of values, and it will see whether the new objective value is good from the existing objective value or not. So that is how Optuna works. So initialization, it begins with an initial set of values for all the hyperparameter that needs to be tuned. So objective evaluation, after the first trial, Optuna evaluates the objective function using the chosen hyperparameters. So we have to initially provide some parameters to it. So Bayesian, yeah.
Sorry to interrupt. However, due to time constraint, I would like to request you to kindly wind up in next 2 minutes.
Yeah, sure. So these were the hyperparameters obtained through Optuna. So we got number of layers as 1. Neurons in each layer was 391. The dropout rate was this, and the sequence length was 81. Whereas the learning rate was found out to be 0.007. So these all the hyperparameters were obtained through Optuna. So in LSTM with error correction, what we did was we evaluated we predicted the error of past 3 days, and based on the prediction, we calculated the errors for the 4th day. So this mechanism kept on continuing until the 20% for the 20% of the test data. So here are the results in the regular method without error rectification. My mean absolute error was 80 and root mean square error was 85. Whereas with the error rectification, my mean absolute error was 0.029 and root mean square error was 0.034. So this is the graph. The first method is without error rectification and the second method is with error rectification. So we can see a significant change or the significant difference in both the graphs. Yeah, that's the references. Thank you. I'll be happy to take any questions, if any.
What is the length of your data?
Sir, it's 12 years from 2012 to 2024. October 2012 to September 2024.
Okay, how many number of values means how many number of values you have considered?
Sir, it was around 2300 rows. I'm not sure the precise number, but in a range of 2300 to 2400.
Have you tested with some period? Suppose, for example, 2000. You started from 2000.
2012, yeah, 2012.
12 to 24, is correct?
Yeah, correct.
Okay, suppose if you already have some data for 2023.
Yeah,
correct.
So that was included in the test data. Na? 80% of the data was training data and 20% was the test data.
Okay, then how will you identify the prediction result?
Sir, prediction result was on the test data only. 20% test data.
And that's already you trained with the test data. Okay, my question is.
No. I trained on training data. 80% training data I trained my model on.
No, my question is.
Yeah.
See, you have now what? Suppose in 2025, how will you predict? By using your model, we can predict, right? Huh?
We can definitely predict. Yeah, we can
predict. But whether the result is good or not means whether correctly predicted or not, how will you identify? It's not possible. It's correct.
Yeah, we can say that. Unless we come on that day, we cannot evaluate.
That's right. So my question is what? Already actually what 2023 you have the data.
Yeah. Okay.
Okay. Now just what already you have the result of 2023.
Yeah.
But you can generate the 2023 results by using your model.
Definitely. That can be.
So that way, whether you tested. No.
Yeah. That was done. So you are. I mean, what you are inquiring or clarifying is whether future predictions were made or not. So yeah, we tested the model on that, and around 20% error was found out.
Okay, it's fine. Good.
Yeah. Thank you.
Thank you so much. Now, I would like to call presenter from the paper ID 544 to present their paper. Kindly show your valid ID for verification.
Am I visible? This is my paper. This is my card.
Yes, thank you. You can present.
Okay. Are you able to see my screen? Can anyone respond?
Yes. Yes. To start from your
beginning. One second. Yes. Myself, Ram Kumar Reddy. I am from Amrita College. I'm from Amrita College. Today I'm presenting my work on NLP based Ayurvedic health recommendation chatbot interaction.
Sorry to interrupt. Please switch on your camera.
One second. Can you see me? Can you see? Am I visible?
Yes. Please continue.
Yes. Yes. Firstly, I have why I have taken Ayurveda is in the sense Ayurveda is an ancient health system that is over 5,000 years old health system that is gained much popularity in the recent times. And as expected, the stats are going like for $15 billion, and it was going high while the according to the health researchers and all, it was going high. And maximum people are showing interest in this Ayurvedic system. That is because the Ayurvedic is doesn't have side effects. There are so many things that have, it is having. That's why the people are showing much interest in this. And however, the Ayurvedic text is complex, and the detailation and the herbs, these symptoms, everything is related to somewhat complexity is having, and that is hard to understand to every doctor, like English doctors and all nowadays and all. That's why there is a specific Ayurvedic doctors we are having, and many existing systems have been failed because there is no proper Ayurvedic recommendation systems has not there, and because of the can't properly recognize the Ayurvedic terms, what are the being, because here this Ayurvedic terms is the most complex things to understand. Like they're not like some English composition or chemical decomposition things and all. But here Ayurvedics that depends on leaves that is somewhat related to somewhat some Sanskrit words and all, like that it was there. That is the one of the thing it is happening, and our project aims to solve this problem by proving this NLP RAG based techniques and all, providing personalized health advice through chatbot and all. And the problem statement discusses about it was while increasing the interest in Ayurvedic system, there we need an intelligent system that to interpret the complexities of in the Ayurvedic text to for the personal health recommendations. Current systems have been having difficulty like finding these doshas, symptoms, treatments, everything which have been is not properly. That's why we our approach is to create some. First, we need to recognize this Ayurvedic entities is the one of the tasks first we have taken. Then we have gone with real-time chatbot interaction things and all. We have gone with the RAG-based model that we can have this user-friendly interactions and delivering the precise content and the context-based content and all. And the motivation is and the main motivation of this project is about many people, as I said, many people to struggle to recognize these Ayurvedic terms and all. That is the one of the problem, and there are so many resources out there, and we have as it was mainly it was there in the books and all, but everything is converted into digital context. After that, converting these books into digital context, we have to use that digital context in a precise way using these RAG based models and all. I will explain clearly while we are going. These are the literature surveys we have taken. This is how we have we gotten some idea on these for these papers, like how to create RAG models and all. And this is about the chatbot interactions. What are the things we have to go? What are the medical based chatbots and all, and the any task how we have to go? These are the study we have gone through, and the design and the you can see the design here. Data is preprocessed, and the custom NER we have made, and we made a small wordnet of 330 entities custom NER model, and then we have given to RAG model, and we have given the direct text data to RAG model to, and these are the evaluation metrics we have gone through this for this RAG model. And this is how our test data looks like. This is just basic text it was, and our data set consists of 21 books and 2000 articles from the internet it was taken. This is how the one of the articles PDF it was looks like. It is completely test. There is nothing like columns and rows and all. No features, proper features and all. We have to gather the information from this test and PDFs and all. And the first thing is about collecting the data. That we have the articles, test articles and test PDFs and all, which consists of the Ayurvedic medicines, remedies, herbs, and symptoms, everything. And the second thing, we have pre-processed our data for NER recognition. We have made that simpler way that the thing it will understand the model need to understand. That's why we have reduced this stop words tokenizations and all using NLTK toolkit and all. We have Moses tokenizer we have used for this special character, so we have removed these things and all. Then we have gone with NER review and all. Then WordNet, we have created 330 entities of WordNet that will handle the mapping of these entities which have been there, that entities and the definitions are there, like that and all we have created. Then we have gone with this RAG based chatbot. In this RAG based chatbot, we have gone through this entities and query processing, information retrieval, like that. This response generation and user interaction is the main space, and we have gone through this, and we have evaluated it with the precision recall accuracy for this in-year based on for RAG. We have gone with the RAGAS method. RAGAS will include this faithfulness and everything and everything. And we have gone with the human evaluation also. For one session, we have gone through this human evaluation. I'll explain it in the further slides. And this is how this RAG model will work. First, the user query is going to be there. That like, what is Ayurveda? This is a simple question. I'm just explaining because I have to explain it for everyone need to understand. Then the query processing will be there. That tokenized part will be there, and this query embedding we have gone with the sentence transformers. That there the sentence has been gone through this sentence transformer. This MPNet base we have taken. That we will go to this FIAS bin. That this query embeddings will go to FIAS bin. FIAS is Facebook AI semantic search. We have this. This is the most open source famous model by Meta AI. Then the documents, the already we have trained data that data we have there. It will go through and it will search for the context based embeddings and all. Then the context will be created. Then according to the prompt, it will generate the prompt construction will be there. The answer will be generated. Then the for the response generation, we have used this BART model. Because why we have used BART model in the sense, it is the only thing we have. It is not it have given very good results when compared to the traditional methods, and all open evidence also is there, but it is not the problem. We have to pay and all. Everyone didn't pay, can't pay. That's it. That is the we need to build a scratch model that is need to be available for everyone. And this response generation is being done by BERT model that will summarize all the text and all. It will give the response. And this is encoder and decoder model. That's why we have taken BERT model. And this evaluation matrix and the final response has been generated. And these are the results of this our NER model. We have taken BERT model, a SPACY model, and custom NER model. Here, custom NER model, we have taken less number of word entities. That's why it didn't perform. Because why we have created custom NER model? Because there is no proper Ayurvedic based NER model was available in the data in the domains. That's why we have created a small one to check how efficient it is. It was when compared to species, the one we have customized the species methods and all. That's why we got somewhat good values when it compares to spacing model. And then this is the RAG model. RAG models we have taken. There are different types in the RAG models also that will change the context and all. We got a contextual RAG model. We got the best outcomes because contextual RAGs will check with the prompt based context and all. Then it will generate the context. That is the way we have gone through this context. These are the things. Agentic RAG is like it will check with the documents related and then spectacular RAG is about it is making the RAG model lightweight. That's why the scores are very low for that one. And the RAT is fine. Yes, it is done. Yes, completely. There is nothing. I will complete it in 1 minute. Yes, thank you. Like that and all. This is the results I have done. This is the RAG model. I have given the query. When it given query, there are three doshas it was given. What will be the fundamental energies it was given, like that it was there. This is the conclusion. Like developed RAG model and all first thing, and this next is the NER model and the coordinate integration, and then we have combinedly we have given to the RAG model to check and all. And the future work is about there is in this Ayurvedic and all we have the things like we need to check that Images also we need to be there. That is multi-model vision based RAG models out there. Next, it is next part. It is, and the response time also it was taking some time. We need to improve that further RAG models and all for training, or after at the time of training we need to make that architectural changes. That, and the multilingual support is the one of the thing it will work in the domain systems. These are the references. Thank you. Any questions?
Yeah, you have
Yes,
given
sir.
very good presentation.
Yes, sir. Thank you, sir.
Okay. Then what way your this procedure is different from some nowadays? Actually, so many either generative AI.
So this is the generative AI concept. What way, in the sense, first novelty in our concept is Ayurvedic based RAG models are not there in the market, or not there in the papers. Also, we have such so many papers. I didn't find even one paper also on this Ayurvedic chatbots. That is, we having that normal chatbot type papers. There is no like RAG based chatbot on that. And the second, the question I'm answering to your question, like that is now this it was there are different techniques. So many people are there are not aware of these things. Like everyone knows about RAG means retrieval augmented generation. That is the thing everyone knows. But there are so many concepts that has been done in this RAG also. There are so many concepts like document, or at the time of document there is this encoder part we have to change, the architecture changes we have to do. Like that there are so lots of things need to explore and to get the proper output and all. And now again, some people are using this OpenAI like ChatGPT is there. ChatGPT embeds, they are just using ChatGPT embedding API keys and all, just generating the models. That need to pay these things. It is like when you use the ChatGPT API key, it will show the similar context of ChatGPT only. There is nothing much new there. It will show.
Okay, so in
I,
your
that's why.
okay,
Yes,
okay,
sir.
in your approach, whether it will be
Yes, sir.
like a typing, or it will show only the content. Suppose
It
if you are
was
typing
when
some what is Ayurvedic, suppose you are typing your query.
yes, sir.
Okay,
Yes, sir.
the display will be what? Whether it's like an image, or it kind of text will be written.
It will generate the text, sir.
Oh.
That is it will generate the text from the like I said, the data set consists of 2000 articles and 21 Ayurvedic famous books. From that whole data set, it will gather the information which is relevant to the user's query. That is the point. According to that, it will
Okay,
generate the.
fine. Oh, thank you.
Okay, sir. Thank you, sir.
Thank you so much. Now I would like to call presenter from the paper ID 583 to present their paper. Kindly show your valid ID for verification.
Hello, am I audible? आवाज नहीं आ रही रे. अरे.
Yes, you may present. Thank you.
Good morning, everyone. My name is Sudhir Chaturvedi, and I'm excited to present our research on optimized lightweight deep learning for plant disease detection. This work addresses a critical challenge in agriculture now, that is detecting plant disease accurately and efficiently using deep learning, especially in resource-constrained environments. The research conducted in collaboration in a and our goal was to develop a high model that represents efficiently
on mobile devices empowers farmers for real-time decision as well. Seeking no plays a vital role in the global food security, yet plant diseases are a major threat to crop yields. Studies in a literature review suggested that the yield loss could be from 8 to 14 worldwide, particularly in developing countries where resources for disease management are limited. Traditionally, farmers rely on manual inspection, which has three key problems. They are labor intensive, they are time consuming, as well as subjective. The labor intensive part basically does not refer to the manual labor, but it refers to the knowledge workers that are trained experts who will farms. Time consuming nature of the diagnosis often leads to delay and the disease spread that further affects the yield. Also, experts tend to have a bias and risk of research new using relevant features so that they can learn the diseases and classify them better. It's an ordinal regression problem as the classes aren't separate, but they are. It has a cascading effect that some diseases are present in multiple plants in the same time. Deep learning provides a fast and scalable solution and also objective. The problem is that most state-of-the-art models that are currently exist require powerful GPUs and large memories for inferencing time, making them impractical for real farming environment. So our goal is to build an AI-driven plant disease detection system that is lightweight as well as fast, highly accurate, making it suitable for edge devices that are mobile phones or a small portable device. Our approach of using deep learning models, our approach of using deep models was developed net live learning that was at an efficient architecture designed for mobile deployment. What makes MSNet special is that it leverages transfer learning and layer freezing. Transfer learning, the part that we are most useful is that the weights don't have to start from scratch. So the training is just starting from scratch, use a pre-trained MNS model. When we replace the final classifier to have better accuracy for plant disease identification. But what we found is that we need additional features such as layer freezing and dropout to prevent the model to overfit and SE modules and squeeze modules that are specific kind of deep learning neural network that dynamically recalibrates feature maps, helping the model for key specific patterns while ignoring irrelevant background noise. Ultra lightweight design is the models share an ultra lightweight design, unlike ResNet and EfficientNet, which have tens and millions of parameters. Our architecture achieves an accuracy of 96.14% with just 3.18 million parameters, making it suitable for real-time mobile deployment. In short, our approach ensures high accuracy while keeping the computational cost at a minimum, making it ideal for real-world use in agriculture. Now that I've introduced my motivation methodology, let's dive into the performance results which my colleague Biplav Devnath will be presenting. Hi, Biplav here. Am I supposed to show my ID card?
Yes.
Camera on. Hmm? Continue. Okay, so now while we have used MNSNet for our model, and we were mostly using the trained weights, pre-trained weights. So there was an issue while using the pre-trained weights. as our model was overfitting. So to overcome this issue, we tried freezing the upper layers without the classifier, the remaining layers. So what we saw after freezing the layers was the model was performing better, but there was still some issues like features and all. So we have to leverage squeeze and excitation blocks for feature extraction, and after applying all these things, we achieved an accuracy of 96% with precision 95, recall 96, and F1 score 95%. Comparing with the other lightweight models, like our model was very small, like 3.18 million parameters. So we chose to compare our model with like similar specification. So we basically use MNSNet with SE along with MSNet with baseline, and with MobileNet V3, ShuffleNet, and SqueezeNet. All of these models were good, but like SqueezeNet performed the worst among everything, as it was only having 0.75 million parameters. Still, it is useful, as if the device is very poor or with low specifications, we can use SqueezeNet, or else like for more accuracy, we can use MSNet with 96% accuracy, and the remaining models still gave a higher performance, but it was not up to mark. Conclusion and future directions. It MSNet, like it was very small, and it gave superior performance as compared to other models for real-time applications, and like for future works, we are fine-tuning the model more so that we could get some more accuracy. Talking about the training details, we use 25 pox with ADMW optimizer and a scheduler as step LR with initial learning rate of 0.001, and during during training we also observed that the model was overfitting like in the first 5 box. So we used scheduler for that reason, and the step size was 3 by 4. Just it's impactful for mobile ready solutions, like for real time plant disease detection, and for 61 classes, that was a huge number of classes, like a lot of diseases, and improve crop yields. It improves crop yields like by reducing the diseases, early disease detection, and sustainable agriculture. Thank you. We are open for handouts.
Just you go back to your table, the performance metric table.
Yeah.
Okay. So which one is your proposed approach?
MSNet with SE block, as well as baseline.
Okay.
As well as MSNet baseline without SE block.
So, okay, but all remaining the SqueezeNet and the ShuffleNet already existing one, isn't it?
The existing one.
Okay, but in MobileNet V3 with less parameters, and it's giving some better performance, almost some very close performance to your proposed method. Okay, then what way you are just claiming your algorithm gives better?
Because we are only focusing on the accuracy for now.
No, that's I see 96.12. We have 95. Okay. Under precision, you see 95.81. You have 95.01. But you see the parameters 1.5 million. But in your case, what 3.38 million. Then okay. Then how means you are also you are telling that your this whatever your proposed method will be useful in mobile.
Sir,
Okay,
actually, so if your question is completed, can I answer?
Yeah, you answer.
So actually, the difference between MobileNet and MSNNet is that MSNNet is optimized for edge deployment, right? So when the inference time comes in, how do we say, in account, MSNNet will give a better performance as it's made for inference and edge devices. MobileNet is still an architecture that you might need to quantize or even prune to get the inference time lower. And if once you do that, the performance will drop. What we are aiming for is, even in the future section, is that basically the MSNNet, the architecture is getting the exact weights right. Instead of getting overfit, it's getting the exact weights, and even as you can see with the SE block and without the SE block, the results are very close. So it is actually getting a better representation than mobile net as well. So in edge device deployment, or for example in a phone that we are aiming for, so the farmer can actually use it. This is much better, as the inference time will be very low compared to mobile net, shuffle net, or even squeeze net. Because the MSN net is based on the architecture of MNAS nest, that is mobile search efficient architecture. So it finds the most efficient weights and then it works on them. So for edge devices, this is I think much a better approach that we can deal instead of mobile net.
But generally, whenever you are going for this reduction, okay, means small in size, okay, in that case, the number of parameters plays a major role. So that's why actually they are telling that it's a mobile net or skews net or all those things when the size of the parameters, the number of parameters used is very less. Then it indicates that what architecture is also less in size. Okay,
Yes,
so now if you are increasing the number of parameters more, then how you can say that architecture is very lightweight, we can say?
Sir, actually, during our experimentation, we found that the MobileNet V3, the small version specifically that we were training, was prone to overfit and had a higher false positive ratio as well.
Now, for example, if you go for any Google Net, okay, or ResNet, that will also will give some better result.
Sir, I don't think it will.
No, you just check that one, okay, because actually almost double the parameters now. You see in here 1.5 million, yours is 3.38 million. Okay, more than double. Okay, just you look at this point of view. Generally,
Sure, sir,
actually,
we'll look into that.
Yeah, just generally you have to retain the same number of parameters, and you have to try to improve the quality.
Right,
Okay,
sir. But that's a very excellent question, sir. But what we majorly found was that the mobile net in general as an architecture struggles with domain shifts, especially when tested with images that have like different lighting conditions or basically different scenarios or unseen backgrounds. While MSNet handles this version better due to, first of all, it's being transfer learned and optimized training techniques.
Okay. And just to try to minimize the number of parameters.
Sure, so we'll
okay,
keep that in mind in the next if we work on it.
Okay. Thank you. Fine. Thanks.
Any more questions?
Thank you so much. Now, I would like to call presenter from the paper ID 585 to present their paper. Kindly show your valid ID for verification.
Good afternoon, everyone. Just a second. Is it visible?
Yes, thank you. You may continue.
Give me a second. I'm sharing my screen.
How many papers are remaining, Apurva?
Sir, this is the last one.
Okay. Thanks.
Sir, is my screen visible?
Yes.
Okay. So, good afternoon, everyone. My name is Shailesh Paule. I am from KLE Technological University, Hubli. My paper ID is 585 and paper title is Wildlife Conservation, that is Real-Time Endangered Species Detection using YOLO 11 model. So let us understand the importance of wildlife conservation and YOLO first. Importance of wildlife conservation. Wildlife conservation is essential for preserving biodiversity. It maintains the balance of ecosystem. It prevents species extinction and also provides critical services like pollination, climate regulation, and natural resources that are beneficial for human use, for human existence. Next is why YOLO. The YOLO architecture enables real-time detection of endangered species, process images quickly, which helps to monitor large areas. It also helps. It is like pre-trained models that can be adapted to detect rare and endangered species with higher accuracy as well. Next, following are my team members, that is Ashutosh Naryagold, Kiran Chikreddy, and Sheldon Pereira. Let us understand the problem statement first. Endangered wildlife conservation faces challenges like habitat loss and poaching, requiring efficient real-time solutions like YOLO 11 for automated monitoring. Introduction. Wildlife conservation is crucial due to threats like habitat loss, poaching, and climate change, as I told. And most of the traditional methods which are being used are very slow and not scalable. That is why we had to shift ourselves towards AI and machine learning, enabling efficient monitoring and tracking of endangered species using YOLO 11 model for real-time detection and classification of wildlife species. Let us first understand the YOLO V11 architecture. The architecture consists of three main components, that is backbone, neck, and head. What does backbone do? It serves as a feature extractor, processing the input image to generate multi-scale feature maps. It has three important things, that is, first is the convolutional layers, initial layers that downsample the image, reducing the spatial dimensions. Next is the C3K2 block, which is the evolution from the C to F block in YOLO V8. These blocks utilize smaller 3x3 kernels to enhance feature representation with fewer parameters. Third important thing here is SPPF, which is Spatial Pyramid Pooling Fast, which improves models' ability to detect objects of different sizes or varying sizes. Second important component is neck. It refines and combines feature maps to prepare them for accurate object detection. Second important thing is C2PSA blocks, which stands for cross-stage partial with spatial attention, which enhances models' focus on relevant regions. Next is upsampling layers, which facilitate the detection of smaller objects. Third important component in YOLO V11 architecture is the head component, which generates the final predictions, including object classifications and bounding box coordinates detection using the detection layers. Next are the objectives of our project. First objective is to develop a real-time endangered species detection system using YOLO 11 model. Next is to enhance accuracy in detecting small animals, that is small in size is what I want to mean. Next is to facilitate wildlife monitoring by covering large area or the maximum area possible. Fourth is to provide real-time data for informed conservation policies. Let us understand the data set. The project uses the Snapshot Serengeti dataset, which is a comprehensive wildlife dataset containing images of various classes. Initially, the dataset had 45 classes, but due to imbalance in the dataset, that is, different classes had different number of images. Hence, we had to pre-process them and reduced it to 7 most important classes which had balanced images in it. They are impala, wild beast, warthog, zebra, hartebeest, buffalo, and gazelle Thompson. These were the 7 classes which were used to prepare the reduced data set which was provided to the YOLO 11 model. Let us understand the methodology. To reduce irrelevant frames, we implement motion detection that removes static images. We have done this by calculating pixel differences between consecutive frames and filters, which filters out non-moving images. That is, there were many duplicate images present in the dataset. Also, there were such images in which no animals were present. So we had to reduce it all using the motion detection and filtering techniques and provide the input dataset to the object. Sorry. Okay. So the reduced data set was provided to the YOLO 11 model, and you can see the object detection done here. Next is, this is the brief information regarding the same. That is, camera trap images were used, motion detection and filtering was carried out, YOLO 11 object detection was done, and finally output images were seen with bounding boxes and confidence scores. Result analysis. As you can see here, we have the performance metrics used were precision recall and MAP value, and overall it was 88.9% of precision, 80.2% of recall, and MAP value of 88.2%. You can also observe here that the class Warthog had the maximum MAP value and class Zebra had 77.5% of MAP value, which was the least among the 7 classes. YOLO 11 achieved high accuracy with an MAP of 88.2%, validating its effectiveness in real-time detection. As I told you, the model performed best for heartbeat with the MAP value of 96.2. Detection results illustrated reliable performance in diverse environments and varying light conditions. Confidence scores and bounding box provided precise species identification. Hence, we can say that the robust performance of YOLO 11 has been justified here. Also, as a conclusion, previous work done on the same data set was using the YOLO V2 model, which was done in 2018, and the MAP value achieved by that team was 55%. And as a comparison, you can see due to the advanced features present in YOLO V11 model and the custom data set prepared by us, we have achieved a MAP value of 88.2%. Showcasing the effectiveness of using a customized data set and YOLO 11 architecture. The future scope which we see is that there might be different light conditions while the images are taking, and hence we need to tackle those scenarios, or if the images are noisy, in such cases we need to work on, and yeah, that is the future scope is what we feel. Thank you. We are open for questions.
Why you compared only two YOLO models, version 2 and 11? What about 3, 5, 7?
Yeah, actually, as I told you, I was very specific with the data set. On Snapshot Serengeti data set, YOLO V2 was the last model which was worked on that particular data set. So it is a comparison with respect to the data set. Like on this particular data set, last YOLO version V2 was used. Then we have used it.
Okay, then you mentioned something customized data set.
Yeah, customized. The reason why I told it as customized is because the size of the data set was very big, and we worked on it and reduced it. So that is why I have termed it as custom data set.
Okay, whether have you applied this customized data set to YOLO V2?
No, sir, we haven't cross-checked it. But as the data set was quite big and many duplicate images were present, like we have gone through the entire data set, which was large.
That is correct. Actually, my question is what?
Yeah.
Okay, so due to these customized data sets, whether you are getting better result, or due to YOLO 11, we are getting better results, we have to identify.
Yes, sir.
Isn't it? For that, what you do, you just apply this customized data set to the YOLO 2 version. Version
yes,
2,
sir.
just check the result. Okay, so that then you can means justify your work. So due to data sets we are getting better results, or due to your 11 we are getting better results. Okay.
Understood. So yeah, we'll surely check it once. Thank you.
Okay, thank you. Thank you.
Thank you so much. That was the final paper presenter. I would like to thank each paper presenter who presented their paper on their hard work. It was really a fruitful experience. I would now request Ms. Shika Batla to present Dr. T. Veerakumar a certificate as a token of our appreciation for being the session chair. Thank you so much, sir. Your presence really lifted the entire session's experience.
Yeah, thank you. Thank you. Welcome.
Thank you, sir, for being a part of this event. Thank you once again.
Yeah, thank you, madam. Thanks for calling. Thank you.
I would request all the participants to switch on their cameras for the photograph. Thank you so much. I would now like Dr. T. Veerakumar's permission to close the session. It's been a privilege to have you all today and make this session a success. We thank you, Dr. T. Veerakumar, once again to take some time out of your valuable schedule and be a part of SPIN 2025. Thank you for being a part of SPIN 2025.
Yeah, thank you very much. You have done very good work. You have arranged very nicely. Okay, so all the best for further sessions. Thank you.
Thank you, sir. Thank you so much.
Excuse me, ma'am. Can we leave the meeting?
Yes, please.
Thank you.
I request IT support to please close the session.